What's in our water?
How do chemicals affect the life in the water?
What should we do about the problems we find?
That's what we're trying to find out in ecology class.
We're measuring the water quality at Deebly Creek by the high school and at Lash Ditch near Southside Elementary.
We used a Riverwatch grant from the DNR to buy a test kit for collecting chemical data, biological data, and physical data. Over 30 tests in all.
So with all those tests, what did we find out?
First, we found that the creeks do not have many harmful chemicals in them. There's plenty of dissolved oxygen, usually close to 100% saturation.
Tests for chlorine, nitrate, and ammonium nitrogen all show very low levels. That's a good sign.
Most of the physical data was pretty good too. The pH and temperatures were normal.
Our fecal coliform test showed normal amounts of bacteria in the water. That means we don't have a problem with sewage being dumped in the creek.
The big problem we found, though, is a lack of living things in Deebly Creek.
Some of it appeared to be killing the small animals in the water.
Turbidity, or the cloudiness of the water, was also poor. There is also a lot of silt covering the rocks in Deebly Creek. Could these things be connected to the lack of animals?
Then in May of 1998, the class spotted a flow of orange silt coming out from under the Sherman Street Bridge. The water above the bridge was fine.
Something was coming out of a pipe under the bridge. The pipe comes from the water treatment plant up the street.
After some investigating, we found that the water treatment plant was flushing the water softener tanks. The pipe was dumping salt and iron into the creek.
With help from the park board, follow-up tests were ordered. These tests showed that the water contained 3 times the allowable levels of chloride. That's the salt. This probably killed most of the animals in the creek.
Because of our help in identifying the problem, the state has now changed the permit for the water plant. The orange silt now goes into the sewers, and the creek is starting to show just a little bit of improvement. We're starting to see more insects in the water.
But what about the turbidity of the water? That's not connected to the salt.
Most of the silt that clouds the water and covers the rocks appears to come from the drain pipe from Lash Ditch. This pipe was put here to divert the water from the wetlands south of Bixler Lake and prevent flooding on Philhar Avenue.
Now, instead of settling into the wetlands, the silt is dumped into Deebly Creek.
The tiny insect larvae that lives among the rocks no longer have a habitat. The aquatic plants aren't getting enough sunlight.
Sounds like we've found the problem, but what can be done about it?
First, we are watching the water quality, and next year's ecology class will do the same. We'll check to make sure the new permit for the water treatment plant is followed.
Another step would be share our findings with the park board. They are using our data to make decisions that will affect the water quality.
One step they might consider is to change the flow of water in Lash Ditch. This could mean dredging the wetlands and increase the flow of water to the lake.
It could also mean improving the silt traps on Lash Ditch. This would prevent putting the silt in Deebly Creek where it buries the rocky stream bed.
Deebly Creek may even need to be dredged to remove the silt that is already there.
A long-term solution might be to change the shape of Deebly Creek. Putting bends and meandering curves and planting trees along the banks would create places for silt to collect while still keeping a place for helpful insects to live.
Whatever happens in the future, water quality is important to our community. By watching the streams and learning what is happening in them, we are working to keep our community healthy. Perhaps we can all work together on that.